Wars don't always begin by accident, but they often continue because no one knows how to stop them. What's happening with the United States and Iran right now is not just a war. It's a system, a set of decisions and reactions that are now feeding on themselves. And if you look at it through game theory, something becomes clear. This war was not just possible. It was almost inevitable. For years, Iran has been in continuous negotiations with the United States and other powers. Not once, not twice. Over and over again. Talks in Oman. Talks in Geneva. Back channels. Frameworks. Agreements. Then new talks again. This is not new. It has been going on since at least the early 2000s, when negotiations led to the nuclear deal in 2015. Even after that deal collapsed, the pattern didn't stop. It continued. Negotiations, pressure, partial agreements, breakdown, and then negotiations again. From Iran's perspective, this is normal. There is always another round. There is always another negotiation. There is always another chance to reset the situation without going to full war. So when the latest negotiations began, Iran wasn't thinking in terms of a final moment. It was thinking in terms of continuation. This is just another round. But the United States approached it differently, as if this was the decisive moment, a single game. From that perspective, the logic is simple. War is worse than a bad deal. So Iran will accept almost anything to avoid it. But that's not how Iran sees it. From Tehran's perspective, every concession today becomes a weakness tomorrow, because the next round will come, and the demands will come again. So instead of avoiding war at any cost, Iran chose something else. Accept short-term pain. To avoid long-term pressure. That's where the breakdown begins. Now add the second layer, the moment where everything becomes mechanical. When military forces are positioned to strike, the logic changes. If you believe your opponent is about to destroy your capabilities, waiting becomes the worst option. Use it or lose it. So Iran has an incentive to strike first. But if the United States believes Iran is about to strike, then it also has an incentive to strike first. And suddenly, both sides are acting rationally and making war inevitable. But the real story is what happens next. Because now both sides are no longer thinking about this moment. They're thinking about the next one. This is no longer a single confrontation, it's a repeated game. Iran applies pressure in places like the Strait of Hormuz, not just to respond, but to send a message. We can impose costs. We can disrupt the system. In Washington, that creates a different fear. If this works once, it will be used again. So it has to be stopped, not just now, but permanently. This is the trap. Each side is trying to teach the other a lesson. And in doing that, they make compromise harder. Because a concession is no longer just a concession. It's a signal of weakness in the next round. And then there is the biggest problem of all. Trust. Iran has seen agreements collapse before. Deals signed, and then abandoned. Negotiations followed by pressure. From their perspective, any agreement is temporary. On the American side, any compromise risks looking like weakness. So even if a deal appears on paper, neither side fully believes it. And without trust, you don't get peace. You get pauses. Now step back. Look at the wider picture. Other powers are watching. Russia sees a United States tied down. China sees a United States distracted. They don't need this war to spiral out of control, but they also have no urgency to end it quickly. And that matters. Because wars often end when external pressure forces a resolution. Here, that pressure is weak. Which brings us to the uncomfortable question, not whether the United States can win, but whether it can exit. Because this is how great powers get trapped, not by one big mistake, but by a series of rational decisions that lead to a situation with no easy way out. A war that continues because leaving is risky and staying is costly. And right now, there is no clear path to a quick end. No deal that both sides would trust. No moment where escalation simply stops. So we should start thinking differently about this war. Not as something that ends in weeks, but as something that could take months, possibly years. Because the danger is no longer how it began. It's that no one now has a safe way to end it. If you want more analysis like this, focused on power, strategy, and where the world is heading, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and visit westernrelations.com. Thank you for watching.